All right, man. We are back. We're testing out some things again. So far, so good. It's crazy too because I had to improve the lighting on in order to make this work with XSplit. But now that I've turned it on with Streamlabs, it actually looks even better. So I don't know, man. As much as I don't want to pay $30 a month to be using a platform that I have access to for free, I might just go ahead and do it because at the end of the day. It looks better. It looks better. It does what it's supposed to do, and I'm happy about that. So, again, hopefully we don't have any latency, and if we don't, then this is where we are going to stay. I am 100% glad to be able to come back with you guys and have these conversations. It is going to take some time for me to get to where I want to be. Number one, it's just been a while. Number two, I still have a lot of things going on in my life. And then number three, part of me still really, really wants to play video games. I just can't right this second. So hopefully by the end of the summer, I will have a better handle on things going on in life and I will be able to do that with you guys more. It's not that I enjoyed the video games as much as I enjoyed the conversation with you guys. And so I want to get back to being able to do that. And for now, though, I love talking trash. I love sharing my opinions. I'm able to do that here, and you guys can be a part of the fun, or you can choose not to be. But I do believe that above everything else, Mikerock Uncensored is going to go forward. We're going to see just how far we can go before I decide that it isn't worth it to either me or you, the audience, anymore. But we're here now. And again, tonight, I'm just opening the floor. We could talk about whatever you guys want. Me, if you leave it up to me, we're going to talk mainly about politics and woke ass people and how I'm just tired of everything. I've lost friends. And please know, when I talk to you guys about when I share things going on in my personal life, unless you literally see tears rolling down my face, and even if you do see tears rolling down my face, I'm not sharing conversations with you guys looking for pity or trying to make myself out to be a victim. It's just when we all have things going on in our lives, and I'm really hoping that at some point my issues can relate to your issues and it'll encourage you to have conversations or just be like, you know what, this is a real nigga here and I enjoy the conversation, because at the end of the day, that's what we want more than anything. I want you to enjoy the conversation. I want to start encouraging people to have a conversation, and whether it's here or whether it's on so moving forward, Mikerock Uncensored, I got to get the domain back, but we're going to connect it to my Buy Me a Coffee page instead of trying to have a full-blown other website. That way you guys can go to one place. You guys can get any kind of blog information I've got, or you guys can see what's going on in my personal life. We'll be doing behind the scenes, but I kind of figure if I just keep everything in one or two places, meaning I chat with you guys, and I might put up the occasional video where it'll be like snippets from meaningful parts of conversations that we have during our live stream. I might do all of those things, but for the most part, it's going to be conversations with you guys. And then, of course, if you guys are enjoying the conversations and you guys want to continue to get these kind of encouragements or these kind of talk about these kind of things, you guys can join me over at buymeacoffee.com/Mikerock. You want to know anything about my personal life from this day forward, you will want to be a part of that. You can join it for absolutely for free. If any part of these conversations touch you more than others, you can choose that particular day to buy me a cup of coffee. If I don't earn it, don't give it to me. But you know what I mean? It's just we're here. We've been Mikerock Gaming for so long, and we've been switching between the Mikerock Show and Mikerock Uncensored and Mikerock Gaming. We started off as Game Spartans, and I've gotten to a point where I have to accept the fact that gaming, as much as I love it, it will never pay the bills for me. I am way too sexy. I mean, old. For me to be thinking that I can make money with video games. And besides that, I would rather be here with you guys with this flag right behind me, or wait, this flag right behind me, having conversations with you guys. And if you don't like it, so what? I don't care. What was I going to say? There's so many things, and I think it's probably good that I got off air for a little while because I probably would have gotten myself into some trouble with a few of my family members. And the truth is, I don't even care about that anymore, man. I've had so many problems. I've had more problems with my own family than I've had with people who have eventually became my friends. And I think part of the reason is because we can choose our friends. We don't get to choose family. So if they're evil, if they're bitter, if they're jealous, if they just don't enjoy life, it doesn't change the fact that they're still family. And in one way or another, people tend to believe that no matter what they do to you, no matter what they say to you, that in the end, you will eventually go back to being family. And that's some bullshit because I've never been done dirtier by anybody than people in my own family. And I'm not to say that's not to say that I'm a saint, but the one thing about me that most people can attest to, including people that unfortunately have been done dirty by me, is that it's never been intentional. And I actually for the longest time have cared more about other people than they have cared about me. No, I'm just playing. I don't know, man. Uh, Before I decided to start doing Mikerock again, or this whole uncensored thing, I had to get clarity of purpose. I had to tell myself that if I was going to do this, I don't care if we're talking shit, telling jokes, having fun. At the end of the day, there has to be a purpose for me. I need a reason to be doing this. And I have that reason. I want I want to help. And this includes myself. I want to create a community that not only encourages people to speak with open minds, I want to encourage a community that is helping men to be men again. I want to create a community where we as a people, whether you're a man or a woman in this community, you understand that children cannot protect themselves for the most part. We teach them, instead of telling them what they need to do and getting them to be followers throughout their entire lives, we should be encouraging them and teaching them how to stand up for themselves, and that life isn't always going to be a bowl of cherries. Because if we don't, we're going to create a world where, as soon as another bad political individual decides to take power, decides to start controlling people over again, our children will not know what to do. And we need to do everything in our, we need to stick together. We need to have these conversations. We need to stop paying attention to what the media and and our political opponents and everything. We need to stop paying so much to what they're saying, and we need to start seeing what's making sense to ourselves. And we will be having all of those conversations. I am not going to hold back. And if you leave me something in the comment section, I don't care if we're friends. I don't care if we're bitter enemies. I don't care what it is. Where life has kind of put me at right now, my kids are leaving. My daughter is with her mom half the time, so I don't have to be as considerate with my words as I have been. It doesn't mean I'm an angry person. It doesn't mean that I hate people. It just means that I'm done being the only one trying to make these relationships work. Either we are going to be real friends, or we're going to be real family, or we just won't have anything to do with each other. You can change the channel. I will wish you the best. I keep saying it over and over again because I've had 3 of these, and so forgive me right now. More than anything, man, I think I improv a lot. So if I start talking about a particular thing and you feel like you want to stay on that topic, then please feel free to do so. I can go on and on with the things that I know, but at the end of the day, I ever want this to just be about me. So clarity of purpose. I want men to be men again, and which means that we're going to be talking about all the bullshit that I've been through as a man, the people who cry victim because I'm 6'5", I weigh about 300 pounds, and I've done some dirt in my life. So when people know that, it's easy to point the finger at me and say, this person is a monster, and I need you to see him as a monster in order to get whatever it is I want out of life. It's easier for them to play victims. I've got people right now in my life who are doing that. They will play, they got the small violin and they will play it to death. They will swear that they are a victim of something that I have done, when in reality, I'm just one of those guys where I will give you the world until I realize that you will always treat me like shit. And once I've come to that page, then we are completely done. I don't go backwards. I don't expect you to change. It is time for me to move on. All of that changing, all of that trying to get you to do the right thing, all of that shit, that happened when we were in the relationship. By the time I say it's over, when I decide that it's time to call it quits, that means that I have exhausted every last thing that I could possibly do to make this relationship work. And you've done nothing but shit on it every single time. So it is time to move forward. And if you flip the script, I would expect it to be no differently. That's the reason why I own my shit. When I know I did something wrong, I will own my shit. I will apologize. I will do my best to make it right, because I value my relationship with this person. And when you don't do those things, you do not value those relationships. Women do not value men as much as men value women. And yes, there are exceptions to every rule. And I'm finding out that most of those exceptions are not in the bigger cities. They're in the smaller ones. They're either loyal to their man or they're crackheads. there's no gray area. They either want a man to be loyal to and vice versa, or they're smoking all kinds of dopes and giving away all kinds of punani at the grocery store. I like I said, a lot of things I will joke about, and it is just a joke. If I'm smiling, 9 times out of 10, it's a joke. But it doesn't mean that there isn't some form of truth. You guys out there in the smaller towns, you know who I'm talking about. The girl that's got the piano teeth and she's afraid to smile because you're going to, soon as she does, you're going to know you're not loyal. We got our own set of problems here in the big city. Most of the women out here have hidden agendas. They feel they're selfish. They feel self-entitled. If the man isn't doing, they don't have to do a single thing for the man that they're with. But the minute he isn't doing something for them, the grass becomes greener on the other side. The relationship ends. She's getting child support. She's getting whatever she wants out of that man. And in the meantime, she's moving on. That has been not just my experience, but the experience of a lot of people I know. And you guys can call me out and try to say, oh, that's not particularly true. I'm a good woman. I'm a good man. There's not a single person that's listening to this right now, one of the other, that cannot say that they can't relate to what I'm saying right now. And all of that stuff needs to end for me. And maybe this is where we need to have this conversation. What has changed? What has triggered me to, what has forced me, has triggered me to decide that I am done playing the consideration game. I will do my best to continue. Excuse me. I apologize. I got to hit the microphone real quick. Okay, sorry. I know you guys can hear my son in the background, but um, the thing that has triggered me again is that I'm just, I mean, there's a lot of things that have triggered me, and we'll talk about them over time. But anybody that's gotten to know me over the past 5 years, you guys have probably seen, I need to have background music in this while I'm talking to you guys, because I'm just making it. Hold on, man. Let me get some background music in here, because we about to have us a really, what? Oh man, they ended Streamlabs Music. And they still charging us $30. This some bullshit. We recommend Pretzel and Slipstream. Um, that's crazy. All right, well, you guys just get to hear me talk. We're not gonna have any background music right now, but we'll work on that. So, anyways, and if I'm wrong, dude, just feel free to tell me in the comment section. But as a kid, or just an older kid growing up and having a girlfriend and everything else, you're raised a certain way. You're raised to know what, for the most part, I was raised to know what a man was supposed to be. I was raised to be to know that when the time came, I was going to be working. When I'm done with high school, you're going to be working for the rest of your life, whether that was in the military or whether that was you became a firefighter or And I've done a lot. I've done a lot with a lot. But something changed when it came to having a relationship with a woman. And I blame. I'm not gonna lie. I blame feminists for this, not because they were fighting. I don't have a problem with any group that's fought for equal rights. If you want equal rights, if you don't want to be discriminated against, I'm all for that. But the minute you take that agenda and you go beyond that spectrum of equal rights and being discriminated against, and now all of a sudden you have this entitlement that doesn't need to be there, that all of a sudden you've gone from wanting to be equal with men in this case to feeling like they owe you, or that you're better than them, or that you need to be in control or in power. Stop. It's not toxic to be a man, especially when what makes them toxic is something that you really just want for yourselves. You're just creating these scenarios that don't need to exist. And I'm not saying that all women need to find a husband that is going to lead that relationship. If that's not for you, then it's just not for you. But it's not right for people to try to tell other people how to live their lives, or to tell other women it's bad to want to be a housewife, or to believe that relationship will never work, that you need to have a backup plan. Don't be afraid to distance yourself from your man because that relationship isn't working, because you're trying to prepare them to either be more like you, or to believe that there's a possibility that relationship is not going to work and they don't need to make the effort. And we've gotten to that page, and I went through this transitional period where I believed I was going to be the provider and the protector of my family. And that's how I still feel to this day. But I ended up getting with the wrong ones, the wrong women. I've got beautiful kids as a result, but none of the women, at least most of, because I made the mistake of letting go of some ones that maybe I should have made more of an effort with. But for the most part, I would end up having these relationships with women who bought into that entitlement theory, that feminist theory, that you don't have to do anything to make this relationship work. I won't say which one, but one of my exes, I've had 2 wives. One of my exes had the nerve to tell me when they were pregnant with one of my kids, had a nerve to tell me that they didn't want to be a housewife. They didn't want to be they didn't want to be a stay-at-home mom. And I was like, well, okay, well, you obviously have some idea of what you want to be. If you have an idea of what you don't want to be in this relationship that we're already in, then you also have to have some kind of idea of what you do want to be. But they didn't know what kind of job they wanted to have. They didn't know, like, they just knew what they didn't want to do. They didn't want to be a stay-at-home mom. They didn't know how they wanted to contribute to the relationship. They just know that they didn't want to contribute in this way. And so basically what you're telling me is, not only do I have to go out there and earn a living, which is what it sounded like you wanted me to do, but you want me to also be a stay-at-home father when I'm not busy trying to put food on the table. And I was the type of person that bought into that. Just like, you know what? I'm going to do whatever I can to try to make this relationship work. I'm not a saint. I'm not sitting up here saying that I've made the best decisions, but I did make decisions to try to keep my family or families together. And at the end of the day, I was the only one making sacrifices. I was the only one compromising to try to make these relationships work. I was giving up who I was to become something that I'm not. And after you can only be something that you're not for so long before it starts to eat at you, and I don't mean it eats at you like cancer. You're continuously telling yourself, this is not me. This is not the type of relationship that I want to be in, that I need to be in. I'm not built like this, but you're doing everything in your power to make it work anyway. And I did that for a number of years. And I still did that. To be honest with you, I still did that even after the relationships were over, either because I thought that maybe someday I could get my family back, or just because I felt like that's what men, that's how we were groomed to believe men were supposed to be, instead of just going with our natural instincts. Naturally, I am a protector and a provider, but we were now being raised to believe that in order for us to not be a part of that toxic masculinity crowd, that you also had to be a bitch. And that ate at me for a very, very long time. It really did. I know that you could probably understand what I'm saying, even though I'm probably not saying it in the best way. But that's where I want to take these conversations. I think we need these real conversations where both men and women need to understand that we do. You may not want to hear this, but we all have a role to play in our relationships. That doesn't mean that your role is going to fit the role I'm looking for. And if it doesn't, that doesn't mean it's good or bad. It just means that we're not meant to be together. Me, I would love to, I'm trying to get myself, and I'm old. I'm past my prime. I'm done. But if I'm going to have another relationship, it's going to be with someone that is going to allow me to be me, allow me to be that provider and that protector. And if she wants to, now that we don't have kids in the picture, if she wants to go out there and make her own money, I'm fine with that. I don't have a problem with that. Just don't think that you're going to get into this relationship and wear my pants or control what it is that I'm doing. And if that doesn't, if that doesn't sound like you, it doesn't sound like you want to be in a relationship where you want to not have a job, but you also want to be controlling, or you don't want to contribute the same way to the relationship that you're expecting your man to do, and it's all about you and not about us, then that's fine for you. Go find that guy that's going to be him for you. That's not me. And I'm tired of trying to turn myself into something I'm not. I'm just using men being with women in one case, because when I get guys on here, trust me, I'm very biased. I'm not going to lie. I'm not saying that there aren't traditional women out there. I'm not saying that there aren't women out there who want the same thing that men want. They want to be taken care of. They understand what it means to have a protector and a provider. And at the same time, they understand that being a stay-at-home mom doesn't make you any less of a woman. And again, I didn't say you had to be a stay-at-home mom. I'm saying for those that choose to be a stay-at-home mom, it doesn't make you any less of a woman, because that's the role that you've chosen to accept for yourself in life. As a full-time father, I will tell you, taking care of your house and having a job all at the same time is one of the hardest things that I've had to do over the past 18, 19 years. I do not take taking care of your home lightly. It is a full-time job. I will never take anyone for granted who takes care of my home and has is relax. It's not just relaxing at home, but they've accepted the job of taking care of the both of us so that I can go out there and put and make that money to let her go shopping, to put food on the table, to take care of my kids, to do those kind of things. Those are roles, not that it's being forced on you, but roles that we have both chosen to accept in our life. And I can promise you, the next woman that I get with is going to understand that we both that like this is what she wants and this is what I want as well. I want to take care of the person I'm with. I want to I honestly, I don't know. This is too much. I'm giving up too much game about myself right now. You guys are gonna be looking at me funny in public and all this other shit. But I honestly have a problem, at least right now, being able to have feelings for someone. Not to say that I can't. I've just had a really hard time developing feelings for someone because after 50 years, going on 51 years of my life, I've just been done dirty for so long that I've turned that switch off, and it's been really hard to turn that switch back on. It like I've met some really nice people, and it's like the first thing that they do, it's almost as if I'm looking for a reason for that relationship not to work, as opposed to finding reasons why, hey, this person might not be perfect, but they're perfect for me, kind of thing. And I've gotten better. Don't get me wrong. I have gotten better, but that has been a problem in my past. Just throughout years, I've had people cheat on me. I've had people that expected me to take care of that entire relationship while they went out and partied and everything else. I've been gullible and I've been naive, and it's all because I just wanted that, I'm trying to be a man, but at the same time, I'm trying to make the sacrifice. And you see these movies where they're like, oh, men aren't in touch with their feelings. You know what? Honestly, women can tell you what they think they want when in reality, they have no idea what they want. And that's been my experience. So why not just be happy with who you are and hope to find someone who is also happy with who you are? Trying to tell women how to be women, to me, is garbage. Trying to tell a man how to be a man or your version of a man, it's garbage. We are all built to be different. And the only way that we can embrace those differences within ourselves is to understand that what you like and what your definition of being a woman or a man is, that's your definition. Somebody else is going to have a different definition, and we have to be able to respect that. And that just isn't in relationships. That is in every walk of life. You're gay. I'm straight. I don't care if you're gay. You shouldn't care if I'm straight. We like what we like. The only thing we know is that I won't be swapping spit with you. I will, and if you're doing a lot of this, I probably won't be drinking after you either. Let's just put it out there. We can have drinks together. We just won't be sharing the same drinks. And it's crazy because I know women do it too. Whatever. And I hope you're laughing. I hope that a little bit made you kind of smile. What else is there, man? Does that make sense though? It's like, we got to get back to a page where people understand that there is no such thing when it comes to relationships as having your cake and eat it too. When you get with a person, there are going to be sacrifices, there are going to be compromises. And if only one person is doing that, then that is a one-sided relationship that doesn't need to exist, period. That's, again, where I stand. Somebody's watching in here, man. Feel free to say I have a feeling Andrew's been here supporting me like he always does. He's listening to me ramble on. I do appreciate it. But yeah, I have a bad joke. I told this joke in a video, And I had some family members tell me that I needed to take that video down. And so what? And the video is, if you don't like it, if you don't like it, go away. The video is, you guys can answer. I'm gonna see if anybody can answer this for me. A Filipino, Malaysian, and Chinese guy are riding together in a car. Who's driving? I gotta get a smaller forehead, or I gotta get a bigger hat. Who's driving? Filipino man, Malaysian, and a Chinese guy are riding together in a truck. Who's driving? So you probably don't want to say it out loud. Immigration. Oh, okay. Maybe that was too much. Again, shout out. So let's switch it. Let's not talk so much about we've already talked about deportations and stuff in my last one. We could talk all day about Trump because I know there's a lot of haterade going on about Trump. And I really have a question. I asked this when Democrats were in control and it was easier for our accounts to be suspended or deleted. A lot of people felt like they could do whatever they want as long as they were a liberal, as long as they were woke, and there was nothing that we could do about it. But now that that's kind of over with, I have a question, and it's been a question I've been asking for a long time. Honest opinion. For those of you who claim that they hate Trump, please tell me why, in your own opinion, not what you heard in the media. Tell me why. Give me a good reason. And it has to come from, there's no such thing as an unbiased source. Your reasons for actually hating a person that you do not know, it has to come from two completely biased sources. You got to hear both sides of the story. I have this analogy, and I'm the only one that I know uses this analogy, but I use this analogy a lot. As a parent, and this is the problem with a lot of these woke agendas, is that they have no consideration for kids. They don't care what happens to the kids. That what they do care about is how they can groom the kids to become more like them. They act like they care so that these kids want to be more like them. And I haven't found anybody that's been able to dispute and refute that with a valid argument. It's every single person. We can go into specifics. The transgender, everything they don't talk about other things going on in kids' life. They only talk about being sensitive to the kids as it relates to who they are within the transgender community. Me, I don't want kids to be groomed at all. I am okay, 100% fine with schools teaching education only. Teach STEM, English, science, math, the things that they need to know, and let them grow up. Teach finance. Teach economics, teach them about balancing their checkbooks, things that they're going to need in real life. And then whatever else they want to know about, that should either come from their parents, come from their experiences in life, or things that they want to learn beyond their education from kindergarten through high school, period. Don't put no flags. None of that stuff. We are, and as much as you don't want to hear this, we are in America. We are Americans for a reason. We were founded on certain principles, and yes, we are finding out certain truths about different things, but that should not take away from the national anthem that we sing. It should not take away from the flag, from the American flag that we fly. At the end of the day, it should have more meaning, not less meaning, just because you don't agree with a certain agenda or political party. And that goes for both sides. If you're trying to make this a better country, the last thing that you should be disrespecting is the country itself. I keep making too much sense. But anyways, and I lost track. What the fuck was I talking about? What was I? Where was I going? Go ahead, help me out here. What was I talking about before I got into this whole, proud to be an American nonsense? I know we were talking about, I don't care if you're gay, straight, but we got past that. Um, it wasn't deportations. We got past. Oh, Trump. I want to know what makes you hate Trump. And I have a theory, and I think I know why. I think that you bought into the media bullshit about why you should hate Trump. And now you're starting to understand that you realistically, when you have to actually face that question and ask yourself, why do I actually hate someone that I do not know? You then have to face the reality that you have been lied to. You just, I'm not, I don't love or hate Trump because, again, I don't know him. I want to know why you can hate a person that you do not know, because until you can get past that hatred for this particular individual, you also refuse to open up your mind to what's going to help us be a better place that everybody can enjoy. Because right now, the only thing most liberals, and this is my problem with the woke and the liberal agendas, is that they only care about themselves. They only care. They will vote for anybody who is willing to vote on their agendas. Liberals don't. I'm almost 100% positive that most people that have these woke agendas do not agree 100% with everything the Democratic Party is doing. It is ridiculous, for instance, that Doge was able to find over $1 trillion of misused, inappropriate, and abused funding, and not care about that. But you choose to ignore that because if you don't support them, then you feel like you're going to lose all of the agendas that they help you build. So you have to continue to support them. You can't disagree. And like I said, you don't have to take my word for anything. Just look at everything look at all the decision making, look at all of look at the way that Democrats, liberals, and Democrats and liberals talk. Look at what happens the minute that one of them has a disagreement. You know what happens when they have disagreements with the liberal parties or the Democratic parties? They become conservatives and Republicans. Why? Not necessarily because they agree with everything the conservatives and the Republicans do, but because they were exiled from the Democratic or their liberal parties because they didn't 100% agree with everything they had to say. The minute you do, I know this from experience because I see it every single day. And it really is sad because until that changes, until people can start owning their shit and realizing that it is okay to be human. It is okay to be wrong. I'm not going to sit there and tell you I enjoy being wrong. What I will tell you is that I'm okay with being wrong, because I learn more through my mistakes than in my successes. Once you're successful at something, there's really not much more you can learn. There is so much more you can learn through your mistakes than through your successes. So when I'm wrong about something, I have no problems admitting that I'm wrong. Like, hey, I learned something new. Thank you for opening up my mind to that. And that's kind of how, in a nutshell, that's how I ended up joining the conservative and Republican movement. I still don't consider myself 100% Republican or conservative. I consider myself American. I am America first, but you will probably label me 100% conservative or Republican because my ideals and opinions about life line up with theirs a lot more than the other side, and that's okay. I don't care about the labels. I just want to know, does somebody have the balls to realistically tell me why you hate Trump? And if you can't do that, if you don't have the balls to do that, then tell me how you can realistically support agendas that make no sense whatsoever. I don't, I, and I no, I do not. I don't even want to pussyfoot around this. I do not agree that a man can become a woman or a woman can become a man. You were born who you are. And here's the reality of it all. If you were born a man and you believe in your mind and in your heart that you're a woman, guess what? That's exactly what you are. You are denying yourself more than the people who refuse to say out loud that you are a woman. You are a man who believes in his mind and in his heart that he is a woman. That's what you are. Period. If you want to be called a trans woman, then that's what you are. That is a total, but to expect to force someone to call you a she that goes against their own belief system, that is disrespectful. You are basically you are trying to force us to disregard our faith, our religion, our principles in life, and everything we are just to accommodate you. I wouldn't have it the other way. I wouldn't force you to. I don't. You don't want to be a Christian, for instance. I don't have a problem with that. That's your decision. You don't want. We pray at the dinner table, but you don't pray. That's your decision. I don't have a problem with that. But to turn around and try to tell me that I should let you go and piss next to my daughter in the bathroom because you believe that you're a woman, but I don't. Nope. Not going to happen. It will never. It's illogical. It's that whole self-entitlement thing that a lot of these agendas have. It's about me. It's not about you. It's not about us. It's about me. And those are the things that I've grown tired of, and I know a lot of people have grown tired of. We're just spitting facts, like literally. This isn't a hate crime. There's no phobia involved in this conversation. We're spitting straight facts here. And you want to, oh, it's all about, what is it? It's all subjective. No, it's not. It's subjective because that's the only logical conclusion or semi-logical conclusion that you can draw to support whatever agenda and stuff that you've created for yourself. Period. And that's again, it isn't just about being gay, straight, trans. It's not. It's all of that bullshit. It's all of it. The whole, like I said, the deportation thing. You mean to tell me that you guys are like, how does this make sense? 2 + 2 = 4. No matter what part of the world, what part of the galaxy you're in, 2 + 2 is always going to equal 4. How do you realistically tell me that you're willing to support someone else's borders, but not our own? You realistically can justify giving hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine to protect their borders, to take food out of our own mouths to protect their borders, but then try to say that we don't need to protect our own. How do you realistically come to that conclusion? It makes no damn sense. Like none. If one country has to protect their own border, has to protect their own borders, then we should have to protect our own as well. It makes sense. We want to help you protect your borders because we believe in protecting our own. Again, go back to my family analogy. Are you guys feeling this? You guys, I hope you guys are. We're dropping knowledge because we're going to keep doing this. We go back to that family analogy. No matter how much money I have in my pocket, whether I'm poor or rich, the responsible thing to do as a parent, as a father, is to make sure that my kids have before I try to do for someone else. What kind of parent am I to go out and give every last dime I have to someone I don't know and no longer have that money to be able to provide for my own kids? What kind of responsible parent does that make me? It doesn't. And I don't think anybody in their right mind would have the gall to tell me you're a good parent because you gave all your money away to somebody that you don't even know before you've taken care of your own. Now, if I've taken care of if my kids are well provided for and they're not hurting for anything, and this is extra that I have left over to give to someone else, then that's my prerogative to do as I see fit with that money that I've earned. But then you flip the script. And now all of a sudden, that same logic, that same principle, that same responsibility that you have as a parent no longer applies to the country that we live in. It's okay to give away the money, the art. It isn't free money. These are, and maybe that's part of the problem, is that the people who are voting for Trump, the people who are voting against these woke policies, these are people who actually work for a living, and they can literally see, for the most part, there's exceptions to every rule. But they can literally see how much money they no longer have because their paying dollars, the money they pay in taxes, is constantly going up to support agendas that have nothing to do with us. It doesn't make sense. That is my problem. You want to ask me what is my problem with these woke agendas? The majority of them do not make sense. The majority of them. I don't even like a lot of these racial agendas. Black Lives Matter. That was nobody is talking about how big of a scam Black Lives Matter actually was. Nobody, not one person. Nobody wants to look at what Patrisse Cullors, one of the founders, I don't know if she was the founder or the co-founder, I don't know. But what she and her family did with the money that they appropriated from the donation, from all the donations they got for Black Lives Matter. They didn't give a single dime. Not one single dime to the families that they were using to promote Black Lives Matter. You don't know if you remember that little girl that got shot in her bedroom. I can't. I feel a little bad because I don't remember her name right off the back because, again, I'm blaming it on this. But they used her. They promoted that situation for Black Lives Matter, and they raised all of this money. I believe Trayvon Martin was another issue that they raised. George Floyd. None of those families got a single dime from all of that money they made for Black Lives Matter. You know who did, though? The transgender community. You know who did, though? Patrisse Cullors' husband. She paid him over $100,000 to be a fake ass security guard for her little group or whatever it was. But she was, what security guard do you know makes over $100,000 that literally doesn't deserve it? Black Lives Matter was the biggest scam, but yet they won't acknowledge that because it's one of those things that will shred their entire agenda, everything that they believed that they were fighting for. It rips it to shit. And for me, being black, white, and Indian, excuse me, I bit the inside of my mouth. But being black, white, and Indian, what bothers me the most is the double standard that is applied to most, if not all, of these racial issues. Nobody's talking about the things that I went through, the struggles that I went through as a mixed child. We don't have a mixed child agenda, mixed lives matter, because again, it has to be about them. It can't just be about everybody who's struggled through similar circumstances. But me, I grew up where I wasn't black enough and I got teased and I had to learn how to fight. I went, I couldn't hang out in white neighborhoods because I wasn't white enough. I mean, these were real things. But the thing is I never cried about those things. I never played victim. I accepted life for what it is. And I learned how to grow through my circumstances. And to me, I think that is probably one of two of the biggest issues that we need to start dealing with as a community, as Americans. We need to stop playing victim. And everything, every agenda that exists right now is created. Its foundation is based on victimhood. We are victims. And we have to stop. We live, fortunately, but you don't want to accept it for what it is. Fortunately, we now live in a world where you don't have to be a victim. If your community is willing to work together, you guys can make just about anything happen. The problem is that you still want those handouts. And you're mad because you're not getting those handouts. You're mad because people don't want to recognize or acknowledge you for the same efforts and stuff, or the lack of effort that other races and cultures are making for themselves. That's just the truth. You don't want to work for it. You don't want to earn it. It doesn't. And I am not just talking about the black communities. I'm talking about anybody. You don't want to earn it. The truth is most of us that aren't working for it, we don't deserve it. I'm poor as hell, but I also know that I'm poor because of my own poor choices that I've made in life. And so I'm busting my ass to work myself out of bad situations, and then new situations come up and I got to work myself out of those. And it's because my kids are worth that effort. So you're not going to sit up here and hear me crying about the things that I don't have. I get help where I can get my help. But for the most part, I got to wake my ass up every morning, get out there and go to work, and stop blaming everybody else for the things that I don't have. You don't want to do that? That's on you. Man, we're making too much sense right now. Anyways, man, this is actually really good. Imperial mango. I really like my screen right. You guys see my finger? I don't know if you guys can see that, but I had a chainsaw accident when I fought forest fires, and I had the chainsaw. This guy cut my finger with the chainsaw, went straight down my finger right there. You can see it. You see, boom. And it ripped all the skin and tissue right off the bone. And I'm sitting on this hill where we were, it wasn't an actual fire. It was a project that we were doing, but I had my bone hanging out and we were waiting on the helicopter to come get me. But anyways, it didn't hurt until they put my finger in this iodine solution to kill any kind of infection or whatever. But the other thing, you see the other finger where it's scarred up there? Well, they end up having to put my fingers together like this, and they were together for like 8 months so that the meat and tissue could grow back around the bone. And they took right here, if you look on my palm of my hand, they took a graft from there and they used that to form my fingers together. So it was quite the experience. My fingers were together for about 8 months. I ended up catching like 3 different infections in that thing. So yeah, I've been through a whole lot. I probably have enough stories in my life where I could write a book that could probably even become a movie someday. And I don't share those parts of my life. I won't share those parts of my life until it's no longer relevant enough for me to keep to myself. And it's unfortunate because, I try to strategize in everything that I do. And I understand that we live in a world where people act like they don't judge you, but they do. You can, you hear me talk, I'm down to earth. I have friendly conversations. I try to be there for people. But if a lot of people knew my past, they probably would be cool not being friends with me. That's just But I look at other people the same way I do myself. Or that I want them to look at me, and it's like our past makes us who we are. And if you're a good person, obviously you've gone through some things. You've you've been put through some things that have helped you to become a stronger person. If you're a good person, if you're a bad person, then basically you've just allowed your struggles and everything else to turn you into something that I don't want to associate myself with. Um, you guys think we're going to World War III? I don't think we're there. I don't think I'm trying to share this. I don't think. Just a second. I'm sorry. Boom. I don't think we're headed I could be wrong. Unless there's, I've come to believe that part of the reason why people hate Trump so much is because he's one of few politicians out there that half-ass gives a shit about what happens to us before he moves on. I really do. I really believe that. I really feel like if he could snap his fingers and make everything the way that he wants it to be, it may not be perfect, but I think we would be in a much better place than we are at this current time and place. I am not even like you would think that I'm just all on Trump's nuts, but I don't even call myself MAGA. I just feel that when you got a side that you don't agree with that just completely hates a person, you have to question why they hate that person. And he is the problem with Trump. It isn't that Trump is an evil man. It isn't that he's done some bad things. We all have done some bad things. What makes Trump, the reason why they're trying to paint Trump as the enemy of the state is because he is the enemy of them. That's it. He is a threat to their continued dominance over us and these woke agendas and stuff that they want to push off on everybody. He is a threat to that, and that's why they hate this man. Like literally, everybody that hates Trump, I'm willing to bet money that the same people who hate Trump. Wow, it's time, man. I get off. So hold on, man. And again, dude, all you got to do is hit me with facts. I'm not going to sit there and say I'm anybody's expert. I'm just telling you what I see. And that's what everybody needs to start doing. They need to stop paying attention to what the media and the government is trying to tell them and start paying more attention to what you see with your own eyes. Because unlike the government, I'm going to tell you, you are smart enough. Unlike the media, I'm not going to tell you to don't believe what you see with your own eyes. No, you see it. It's there. That's exactly what it is. What you thought it was, what you're putting together, that's probably exactly what it is. But I'm willing to bet that every single person that hates Trump has some kind of agenda that they support that he's against. Period. Every single person that hates Trump, it's not because he's Trump, it's because he is a threat to something, some agenda, something that he does not support. He is a threat to that. And that's the reason why all of these liberals and all of these Democrats, that's the reason why they can't afford to disagree with each other. You've got people that have been loyal Democrats. Tulsi Gabbard, what's his name? Robert RFK Jr. There's some other ones out there. I just can't think of their name. There's actually a gay guy. I forgot his name. Goo something. Gay guy was a Democrat. He's a gay Republican now, and it's just the minute that they have a disagreement with the Democratic Party or the liberals, they are no longer considered a part of that party, and so I would really love for somebody to prove me wrong. Anybody, Just if you can, if you hate Trump, but he doesn't, he isn't a threat to your agenda or whatever. I want to know, not necessarily who you are. It'd be nice for you to share, but tell me why. Tell me why you hate him. Is it because of the 34 felonies that he's got to his name? Those were, for lack of a better word, trumped up. And if you do your homework on that, you'll find out that that 34 counts of the same issue. They found a way to make that man look like a convict because they thought that that was going to be enough to keep him from being able to run for president. That not enough people would vote for him if they thought he was a convict. So they made him into something that he's not. And I'm almost willing to bet that I don't know why he isn't. Well, probably because he's president. But I was going to say he needs. He hasn't even finished going through the appeals process. I'm almost 100% positive that once he goes through the appeals process, he gets in front of judges who are actually doing their job and they're not biased toward any political party, that the felonies that he's been convicted of, they won't hold their weight. They'll be overturned on appeal, but people won't see that. They still need to see him as an enemy. So instead of being happy that those convictions were overturned, they'll want to say, but no, we all know he wasn't, he really did those things. He really is a convicted felon and everything else. They need that. He doesn't need that. They need that to make them feel better about themselves. It's some dumb shit, just dumb shit. Maybe now is the time for me to tell anybody, if you're a rich woman and you want somebody to take care of you, send me a message. I'm just playing. I do plan on, so I told you guys I got some clarity of purpose. I went to San Diego, and between San Diego and Prescott, Arizona, we were gone for about 2 weeks. And it was so refreshing for me because it was the first time in forever where I didn't have to think about anything. My mother-in-law, she was gracious enough to... Who's singing? Oh my God. Who's singing? Oh my, could y'all hear that? My boy was singing the national anthem. Oh, no, what was it? Oh, say, can you see? He's in the room singing that. You better stop smoking that weed. You got to take that piss test. Dude, he just fucked up my whole, clarity of purpose. So I just, like I said, my mother-in-law, in exchange for helping her to move, she gave me money to pay the rent and stuff like that. And it allowed me to just take a break from life. And it's the first time I've been able to do that in Lord knows how long. So I used that time to just really start thinking about where I wanted to go from here. And then all of a sudden I find out my sons are going into the military. So I, was like in a position where I'm like, you know what? You thought you had to make a new game plan then? You really got to make a new game plan now. And so I'm nervous, a little nervous about the idea of my kids going off and becoming the men that they were supposed to be. But at the same time, I'm excited because after so many years, I get that part of my life back. And so, I started up my wedding business. I'm doing it the way that I should have done it in the beginning. It's more of a side hustle than anything else. If it grows, great. If it doesn't, I know I'll make at least a little bit of money. When I was doing it before, I got a few clients. If you guys know anybody that wants to get married online, I'm literally only marrying people online. I do vow renewals, I do commitment ceremonies, I do all of those things. So if you know anybody, somebody that's going to be leaving the state for whatever reason, military included, deployed, let me know. I got referral fees. In fact, if you're a content creator, I am actually working on an affiliate program where all you got to do is share your link, share your banner, share your link, And if they get married or do a vow renewal or anything, I give you guys 50% of everything I make. I want it if for anybody that sees the value in what I do, and there is value in what I'm doing. I literally am making it so that you can set up your own business where you can actually make extra money encouraging people to get married online. Just, there are a lot of people who want traditional weddings, but there are a lot of reasons why people would want to get married online. Again, military who are about to be deployed and they need an instant way to marry the person that they love, those people who are incarcerated, when they want those conjugal visits, they don't have to be with each other. They can be in different parts of the world as long as as long as there's an internet connection and I can see both parties that I'm going to marry, and they've gotten their marriage license, which is also online through the state of Utah. I can marry them. So again, if you want to be a part of that, let me know. Shoot me a DM. I would love to have people on board. I'm going to be offering training, marketing, and stuff like that to help you to be able to share the information. And who knows, like if you treat it as a side hustle, you do it in your spare time, you're going to be making about $100 every time somebody gets married. That's pretty good money for just sharing information in your free time. The other thing that I'm actually working on that I'm excited about is real estate photography. I've always been a photography enthusiast, but I couldn't afford it before, and I still can't afford it yet now. But I just have a feeling with where I'm going, where we're getting to, that I'll be able to afford photography in the future. So we're not. I've got my website built up. I've got the business plan set up. I've been training with real estate photography. I'm excited to be in that industry, but I'm not even going to start selling it until I am exactly where I want to be with my equipment, with my ability to do my job, things like that. So it's something that I'm working towards, and that's literally all I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing weddings. Right now, I'm doing whatever I got to do to put food on my table, but I'm going to be doing weddings. I'll eventually move over into real estate photography, and then I'm going to be here talking shit with you guys and getting things off my chest, and hopefully you'll feel free to do the same. So because I don't want anybody to just classify me as fake, but I had a minute where, and I still have it. Don't get me wrong, it hasn't gone anywhere. Where I just felt right about renewing my own personal relationship with God, and but I went out of my way. I was so excited about the game plan, meaning that I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I have my associate's degree in theology, and I went to school for theology because I wanted to draw closer to God. I actually thought that at some point I wanted to become a priest or a pastor. But the more I got into the religion side of everything, the more distant I became with the church. And not just like a particular church, just all of the churches that classified themselves as something other than just followers of Christ. I was having a problem with, because I was beginning to understand that religion is just a way to control people. It's a way to get what they want out of the people who follow them. It's if you don't, again, just like with the woke and liberal movements, you don't believe exactly what we believe and how we believe it, then you don't belong here. Like I said, it is a way to control people, and I didn't agree with that. I just like with anything else, again, I'm very consistent with how I believe and where I apply those beliefs. If you have questions, you should be able to ask questions. And to be perfectly honest, when it comes to the Bible, I believe people should be taught to read the Bible for themselves. I believe that the Bible can move people if they know how to read it and they're reading it on a consistent basis. I do believe that that's, the whole that and I'm not trying to get religious, honey. I'm just trying to explain something. I do believe that the Holy Spirit will work through you and show you what the Bible is supposed to mean to you and how it's supposed to speak to you. I believe that's the wonderful thing about God's word, the Holy Spirit, and God Himself. But I distanced myself from all that because that's not the way I felt it should be, is not the way that it was. And so we fast forward to today, where I have a lot more experience with life. I have a lot more knowledge about what's going on in life. And I just decided that, you know what, if I can't find the church that I needed to belong to, that I was going to create it myself. And I started to do that. It's still there, but I've pushed the pause button on it because I just don't feel like that's something that I can lead when I still have a lot of growing to do myself as a Christian. So, for anybody that's like, well, weren't you're doing all this cussing now? And, just a couple weeks ago, you're putting out videos about, God this and God that. Again, I didn't have enough clarity of purpose. That's probably the best way to put it. I'm not saying that what I'm doing now is better than what I was doing. I do hope to be that person, when the time is right. But right now, I just feel like I have, I still have my conversations with God. I still pray on a regular basis. I just not that guy. I'm not that leader that I feel needs to be there in order to encourage and move people in the right direction. I'm not there yet. So, bear with me. If you've seen some of those videos, if you, I'm not apologizing for them because I love those videos, but I am apologizing for what you see now because this is who I need to be right now. I'm in this moment. And I want, before I can become something more, I have to accept the person that I am. And that's what I'm trying to encourage everybody to do for themselves. If you want to become something more, but that something more is actually an improvement. You're building on who you already are. You can't do that if you're not being the person you're supposed to be. So men, if you know in your heart, if you are built to be that protector and that provider, that you feel that you're looking for a woman to be in your life who wants to accept that role of allowing you to be their protector and their provider, but they've also accepted all of that. They have to contribute to that relationship as well. My biggest encouragement to you is don't accept anything less. It doesn't matter if it happens today or tomorrow. If more men stepped up and said, I'm tired of people saying that who I am and what I do is toxic, trying to force me to become something that I'm not, and you're not going to care about what that does to me, then you're not the person for me. You're not. And there's nothing wrong with being ladylike. There's nothing wrong with being a lady. There's nothing wrong with being treated like a lady, but you don't get to be treated like a lady when you're acting more like a man than I am. When you want the power that when you want the power that I've worked for to earn growing up, but you still want all the privilege. I forgot, there's a saying about that. You want the privileges of being a lady, but you want to put in the effort. You want the privilege of being a woman, but not the responsibility. I think that's where it went with that. And that's so true. And I'm sure it goes the same for men. I'm just not attracted to men. I'm sure there are a lot of men out there. You want the privilege of being men. You just don't want the responsibility of being men. Some of you, I know there are a lot more men who are stepping up for their kids. There's a lot more women. There are a lot more women stepping out, but this isn't a woman bashing conversation. I'm not bashing all women. I am bashing those feminists who think that they're supposed to be better than men. It isn't about being better than men. It's about being who you are supposed to be, period. Same thing with men. It's not about you being better than women. It's about knowing who you are, knowing your role that you play in your relationship, and being the best that you can at it. I'm so tired of feeling like I don't know about you guys. I really want to be in a long-term loyal, not long-term, lifelong commitment to a relationship. Like I don't. Where did that go? When did we stop believing in? When did we start believing that if you're not getting what you want out of this relationship, instead of working to make it happen, you can just go ahead and let go of that investment, because that's what you're looking at it like. Let go of that investment and go and find someone new. It's stupid. How long have I been talking? Does this thing tell me how long I've been talking? I've been talking with you guys over an hour. I'm going to give it about 10 more minutes and then we got to go. If you are still here watching right now, hopefully I've bored you enough to where you're about ready to go to bed, because that's where we're all going in the near future. But again, I want to start encouraging you guys. If you guys can relate to these conversations, I want to be able to do it with you guys more. I really do. And there's a couple of ways that you guys can help me to do that. You guys can go over to buymeacoffee.com/Mikerock and just join as a member. That's it. You don't have to buy me anything. You don't have to just join as a member so that you can get all of the latest content. I love writing. I love probably not more than, but just as much as I love talking to you guys like I'm doing right now, I actually like writing. I like putting my thoughts on paper or putting it inside of a blog. I have no problem sharing my personal life with you guys. I love getting feedback, because that's how I learn. So that's where you guys are going to get all that. You can choose to be a member. I'm hoping that I can build it up to where we can give away little perks and everything else. But I think the most important thing, for what I'm trying to accomplish is that I just want to be here for you guys and vice versa. I want to be able to, give those shout outs to let you guys know that you're not doing this shit by yourself. You're not thinking, that you have thoughts that as long as nobody else is sharing those thoughts, you're going to think that you're alone in that shit. And the truth is you're not. We found out through the last election, the media and the Democratic Party what made you believe that nobody was voting for Trump. Well, if nobody was voting for Trump and if nobody subscribed to what he was selling, then how was it that he was able to win the election? Because he didn't cheat. Anybody that wants to sit up here and try to say that he cheated to win that election, yeah, you're a sore loser. I mean, plain and simple. Anyways, I think it is about time for me to get out of here. I am getting a little tired, or either that or the alcohol is kicking in. If you are watching me on YouTube and you haven't followed already, please do so. If you're over here watching on Facebook and you just found me, we got a lot. We're going to make this a schedule. I have to put together a schedule. We're going to be here with you guys on a more regular basis. I just don't know if we're going to be doing it more in the morning or more in the evening. I'm thinking morning time because that's when I have the most time, but we shall see. I'm going to get out of here, man. You guys have a great rest of your night. And yeah, just like I said, thank you for allowing me to open up to you guys a little bit. Thank you for watching, even though I've been gone a while, and I'm really hoping that this new version of Mikerock Uncensored is something that resonates with you in your personal life. You guys have a great night. Get some rest, and I'll talk to you guys again soon, man. Peace.